This episode is brought to you by McAfee.
I found this great place to stay this weekend.
Click on the link and book it.
Oh, wow. McAfee alerted me that this site is fake and even blocked it.
Cybercriminals create fake sites to steal your passwords and financial data. McAfee identifies and blocks these sites to keep you safer online, so you can book your trip without worry. Learn more at mcafee.com/online protection.
What is Cafe Mocha? Cafe Mocha is experts, celebrities.
What's up? This is Belle Biv DeVoe.
Yours truly, Idris Elba.
This is Fantasia.
This is In Vogue.
This is India Ari.
So much more. All from a woman's perspective.
What flavor are you, baby?
This is Cafe Mocha.
This is Cafe Mocha with Lonnie Love. Yo, I'm the producer, Angelique. If you are sick of what's going on in the White House, former White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre looks at the Republicans and the Democrats. That's coming up on Cafe Mocha.
You know what, Yo, I don't know if you saw online, but Miss Debbie Allen won an honorary Oscar, and she had a pre-Oscar party. And at that pre-Oscar party, you had Jennifer Lewis. You had all of Debbie's family was there. It was beautiful. But Tom Cruise, honey, was up there doing the ones and twos and the doo-wops and feeling it. DJ D-Nice actually DJ'd it, and it has gone viral of Tom Cruise and Debbie Allen dancing. Did you get to catch it?
I did not catch it, but I did get a chance to see all of the great press and all of her great excitement for being awarded.
I mean, it was just so wonderful. Debbie Allen has been in this industry over 50 years. She started out on the show Fame many moons ago, that TV show. She has choreographed many things. She has the Debbie Allen Dance Academy. She's a director. She's a star on Grey's Anatomy. She's just phenomenal. And she's also a friend of mine. And I really am excited for her that she won this honorary Oscar. And also Tom Cruise won an honorary Oscar as well. And so to see them two, he did this wonderful speech about her where he actually talked about her being a queen. And in the very end, he quoted Debbie's mother, Miss Vivian, who recently passed. And so she was really taken aback. Wow. And I mean, to me, that's what giving flowers is about, when you think about someone like Debbie Allen and what she does. So we just want to hear at Cafe Mocha give a big, huge congratulations to her on receiving it.
When I went back to school at 30 and I did some research, I didn't know what to take up. I went to Bergen College in New Jersey. I didn't know what to take up. And they said, well, just who are some of your mentors or some people you look up to in the industry? And I looked up Debbie Allen and I said, what did Debbie Allen go to school and get her associate's degree in? And it was liberal arts. And so I went to get my associate's degree in liberal arts because of Debbie Allen. I looked her up and walked in her footsteps.
Oh, wow. That is awesome. I love her. That I wanted to talk to you and ask you your opinion about was they announced Bad Bunny as the Super Bowl performer. What do you think about that?
I was like, Bad Bunny? I don't even think I know one of his songs.
Well, for those that don't know who Bad Bunny is, he is a Puerto Rican artist. He actually does all of his songs in Spanish. And so it was a surprise to some people when the NFL and Jay-Z of Rock Nation chose him. But Jay-Z said that his name is Benito. He said the things that Benito has done for Puerto Rican and his people have really been awesome. Also,
there's a lot of Spanish in football too. There's a lot of people who does know his music. Unfortunately, I'll just be there bobbing my head.
I know. It's like, I always tell people it's 12 minutes. That's what the halftime show is. It's 12 minutes. And It's, it's fun. I'm sure it'll be full of color and dancing. And even if you don't understand the words, you always understand the beats and the music. As a matter of fact, some of the MAGA people were so upset. They tried to do like this whole thing with the NFL. And the NFL was like, whatever, we chose who we chose. So they're like, we're going to have our own separate Super Bowl with Kid Rock and Lee Atwood. And I was like, who is Lee Atwood? who is that? Like, y'all over here mad at Bad Bunny. We don't know who Lee Atwood is, but y'all gonna have him. And so I think that it's kind of calmed down because I don't think that there was much interest in it. And it's like, I think that what Jay-Z did in choosing him was somewhat of a political move. With what is happening with the immigrants and immigrations and the ICE raids, there's some ways to say, hey, look, diversity is needed and diversity is here, and you guys can't control everything. So
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree. And they've been doing a great job in promoting his music. I've been seeing him on a lot more commercials and getting people familiar with who he is, because I'm a big Steelers fan and I love NFL. I watch it every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday. And so football is a part of my life. And you definitely want to feel like you're a part of the halftime show. I am excited to get to know who Bad Bunny is and to listen to some of his music. And I do agree with you. I think it's a political move because of all the stuff that's going on. But I'm excited for football. I'm excited to see the Steelers in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen. But you keep hoping. Keep hope alive.
We're on top right now, Lonnie. We're on top. We just beat Cincinnati. We're on top.
We will see. We got a lot of season left.
If you are sick of what's going on in the White House, former White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre looks at the Republicans and the Democrats. That's coming up on Cafe Mocha.
Standing in solidarity from a woman's perspective. It's Cafe Mocha.
It's Cafe Mocha with Yo-Yo, Lonnie Love, and the producer, Angelique. Somebody I met, as a matter of fact, when we talk about football, I hosted a media event for this Black media company in Washington, D.C. It was an award show. And I met Cam Newton. They gave an award to him, and they also gave an award to James Brown. And James Brown is the CBS analyst. You see him every Sunday on CBS, the nicest man. Oh. And of course, Cam Newton is Cam Newton. He's like
in love with him. He the craziest dressed NFL player, and the women just go crazy for him.
I mean, he came with his hat and his suit and and his girl and the thing is that what happened was Shannon Sharp was on First Take. And then with the whole Shannon Sharp controversy happened, ESPN let Shannon go. And so that opened it up. Actually, Cam Newton does a podcast that was very successful where he interviews people. He has all these like crazy questions and like most of his clips go viral. So because of that, he basically was able to get a deal with ESPN. And it's like, it just shows you what happens when the thing that he said in his acceptance speech when he was getting the award was that he's always been him. And he even though people may, laugh at him or think that he's strange or different, it's who he is. So, the eccentric dressing, the wearing the hats, having all babies by different whoever, that's him. And look, he got a contract with ESPN and he's, commentating on ESPN, and it's who he is. So I think there's a lesson there to understand. It was the multimedia correspondence dinner that I did. So they're a Black organization that celebrates multimedia culture of all kinds. And it was great to host that. So definitely was something to look forward to.
And speaking of football, what about the Dallas Cowboy defense end, Marshawn Nealon, 24 years old, who died?
Yeah, rest in peace. He was dealing with some issues. His mother had just passed, and unfortunately, he took his own life. If you or someone you know is having problems, there's a suicide hotline that you should call. He's just 24 years old, and after his death, we have now found out that his girlfriend is pregnant. And so, it's really a stressful situation. I also want to talk and give a shout out to Shedeur Sanders of the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns had been holding him back. He was third string quarterback. They were not letting him coach or run plays with the team. And their first quarterback ended up getting hurt. They put Shedeur in the game. It was his first time, and the crowd just went wild. He didn't win the game. He did do some great throws and some great picks, but he didn't win the game. And the thing that he told the press was that he asked the fans, he said, hey, when I come on the field and you're screaming and yelling, he said, I appreciate that, but we really have to remember this is a whole team. And so he's really trying to, the head coach of the Cleveland Browns he has not been kind to Shedeur. Shedeur has been proving himself. And for some reason, this head coach is just not giving this young man a chance. And I wish they would just trade him. I mean, if you're going to, I think that they want to try to humble Shedeur. They want to, they remember how Dion was, but you have to let, just like Cam Newton, you have to let people be themselves and you have to let them learn. So there's a lot going on in football. We could talk about this all day, but we got to go. And that was good. Yo. This is Cafe Mocha.
That's right.
It's Cafe Mocha with Lonnie Love, Yo. I'm Angelique. On the line, former White House press secretary for Joe Biden. First Black person and openly queer person to serve in that role. Political advisor to Barack Obama, chief of staff for Kamala Harris's first presidential run. I'm talking about Karine Jean-Pierre. Welcome back to Cafe Mocha.
Hello. Hi. Thank you so much for having me. It's always fun. Always a joy to be on with all of you.
Well,
Thank you.
We love you, Karine. And I want to know, first off, this new look you have, honey, okay? I'm like, okay, the cute curls, they were blonde, but now it's like, woolah. It's like, what happened? What made you want that new look? It's beautiful.
It's like they call it the post-White House glow-up, I think that's what they call it. I've heard it call it. But I figured, new book, new look, and I wanted to do something different. It's really funny. My hairstylist, who's been doing my hair for well over 10 years, I went to her and I said, hey, I want something different. She's like, let's blow it out. I've never seen your hair straight. This whole entire time I've done your hair. And or at least see you wear it straight. And so we tried it, and it's funny hearing the reactions from people.
Amazing. I love it. Beautiful.
Folks have opinions.
Karine, you do have a new book out called Independent, A Look Inside a Broken White House Outside the Party Lines. So what's been going on with you since the election? I mean, speaking of broken White House and all that, what's been going on since the last election, last time we talked to you?
Yeah, so in the subtitle, as you just read it, The Broken White House, I am talking about the current administration, the Trump administration, and what we're seeing in this moment. If you talk about Project 2025, 48% of what they have wanted to do in Project 2025 has been basically done. And I'm talking about, what they've done to agencies, basically gutted agency, throwing out the rule of law, this whole anti-DEI campaign that they've had since day one of their administration. And immigration, obviously, as we're seeing military being deployed across the country in cities, and migrants being disappeared, but not just migrants, American citizens, particularly brown and black people, are being taken off the streets. And so this has been happening in this administration. So that's part of the book, especially the second part of the book, is really about this moment. How do we continue to fight for our freedoms? How do we continue to make sure that we're fighting for our democracy? How do we continue to fight for people who are vulnerable, who do not feel like they have a voice? So that's pretty much the second part of the book. And, earlier this year when I was thinking about writing something and what I was going to say, it wasn't this book. It was something very different. And then as I was hearing from people, minding my business, I'm out of the administration, I'm going to the, restaurant, I'm going to the grocery store, or I'm at the airport, people were coming up to me and they were saying, what is happening? Like, why do we not see more from our Democratic leadership? Why were they not prepared? What's the strategy? What's the plan? And so that's where this kind of book came to life, and that's what happened.
You know what? Talking about getting out, after working with President Obama and Biden and working on Kamala Harris's first presidential campaign, you left the Democratic Party. Can you tell us why? So the way that worked is I worked on Biden's general election of 2020. I was not part of the primary. And then when he was selecting his running mate, he reached out to me and he asked me if I could be the chief of staff to the incoming running mate. And at the time, I didn't know who it was. And it was then Senator Kamala Harris. So that's how I became part of her team, if you will, in the general election for 3 months as her chief of staff. And that was on the Biden-Harris ticket. And so, look, the way that I see it is, I feel as if when we look at the 2024 election, when we look at the results, I do feel that the party leadership let us down. And I do feel that the party leadership tends to take Black women for granted. And it is what they do. 92% of Black women came out on election day, and it was very devastating for all of us to see the results. I talk about in the book how I believed Kamala Harris, obviously then Vice President Harris, was more than qualified to be on the top of the ticket. And I think she did a phenomenal job in her leadership in running in 2024 as being at the top of the ticket. And then what ended up happening is she lost. And during that time, even watching her run a really phenomenal campaign, I had doubts as a Black woman walking in this chocolate skin and being who I am. I was like, wow, is this country really ready? And is the misogyny, or can we get past the misogyny and the racism? And we saw the misogyny in 2016. So I had doubts. And it's so sad because even though I was hopeful, I had doubts, and those doubts came to fruition in November. So I do think that part of that responsibility is on the Democratic Party and their leadership. And how do we move forward? And how do we make sure that when we have candidates that are diverse, are successful? And so I do think there is a level of disregard or taking us for granted, which is also part of the book that I talk about and speak to. And I feel as if in this moment, speaking about being independent, look, I've been part of the party for 20 years. I've worked for the first Black president. I was part of an administration where we had the first Black woman vice president. I worked for President Joe Biden, who did took a lot of historic actions and legislation, and had the most diverse administration in present modern day politics. But I do feel in this moment, after 2024 and what happened and where we are today, that
I don't think the Democratic Party is doing enough. And so for me, in order to have a voice and to use my platform, I thought to myself, well, let me work from the outside and see if I can push the system, because the system is broken. You have two parties right now that are not functioning to, one party is completely lost, right? That's been taken over by, by the man in the White House who believes he's a dictator. And the other side, it's like, okay, where's your teeth? Where's your teeth? Like, where's the fight? The fact that they completely gave up their leverage during the shutdown and got nothing out of the shutdown that's a point of, that's an example right there. It's like, guys, what are you doing? The people were with them. And don't get me wrong. People losing SNAP is not great. People not having a job is not great. But they had the people with them. They were on the side of the Democrats, and they put the blame of the shutdown at the feet of Republicans, and they gave up their leverage. And those are the things that are problematic. And after having a successful 2025 November election, I mean, Democrats did well across the board, across the country, and made history across the country. And then days later, literally like less than a week later, they capitulate and get nothing out of it. Now we're headed towards a healthcare crisis. This is a problem. And these are the things that we need to talk about.
So when you left the Democratic Party, which was a great move, I think writing this book titled Independent, A Look Inside a Broken White House Outside the Party Lines was a great move. But when you left the Democratic Party, were people shocked when you told them, or did they see it coming?
Well, so here's what's so interesting. I think people who know me know that I'm an independent thinker, have an independent streak. And so there are people who truly, truly know me are like, okay, I'm not surprised Karine is using her platform in this way. It doesn't surprise me, right? And I think people who are sensitive about it and feeling their feelings about it, say whatever they want to say, whatever negative things they want to say. But if you truly know me and you know my heart, you know who I am, and you know how I've moved through life and you've watched me, it wouldn't surprise you, right? And look, I think, and this is all nuance, and I know people don't like nuance nowadays, but it is very nuanced, because I'm not saying I'm going to vote for the Republican Party. That's not what I'm saying. And I'm not even calling for a third party. What I'm saying is I'm trying to show that the system is broken. I mean, there are millions of people who are independents who many of them don't get to participate in the primary process because it's a closed primary. That's the problem. You have young people who don't see themselves in either party and want to be independent. That's a problem, right? And so the system is fundamentally broken in that way. And so to me, I want to shed light on that. I want to shed light on, how the party leadership in a party that I was part of for a long time needs to change their ways. And we cannot behave as business as usual. This is not the time. In my opinion, the Democratic Party needs to behave as the opposition party right now, because these are not normal times. Our democracy is hanging by a thread. And that's not hyperbole. I'm not exaggerating.
The book is called Independent, A Look Inside a Broken White House. More with Karine Jean-Pierre coming up on Cafe Mocha.
We're at Cafe Mocha Radio. Socially savvy on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Serving up more Cafe Mocha on the way.
UNITY, that's a unity.
It's Cafe Mocha.
Cafe Mocha is radio from a woman's perspective. We're on the line with a longtime advisor for the Democratic Party and the first Black White House press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre. Let's get back to it. But people are saying that over and over, and democracy is at stake. The very,
the Republic, we're losing it.
I mean, how do we really get that across? I mean, there are a lot of people that aren't watching the news. There are a lot of people that don't even understand how close we are to just
TikTok. Make a TikTok.
Yeah, exactly. How do we?
And that's the scary part. I agree with you, because it's not like the first time Trump was president, right? And what I mean by that is people are not watching cable news the way that they were. They've just kind of turned it all off. But I do see a sign of hope when you look at the results of the election this year in November, when you look at 7 million people coming out, No King's Rally, and then you look at the polling that is saying that folks are rejecting Donald Trump's agenda. So people are feeling it at least and are reacting to it and seeing it for themselves what is happening. What I need right now is what I want. I think and you see this in polling with members of the Democratic Party saying that they're disappointed. I mean, the Democratic Party has their lowest poll numbers that we have seen in a long time. So what I need is Democratic leadership to meet the people where they are right now, to show some fight, to show that they are listening and they are being, like, they're not using canned lines, they're not using poll tested lines, and they're not throwing vulnerable communities under the bus. That they are fighting for all of us, fighting for this big tent and meeting people where they are right now. Again, that's why the shutdown decision by these 8 Democrats, I don't want to call out all of them, but there were 8 Democrats, you know, in the Senate. And when I mean call out, I mean like some Democrats did the right thing, certainly in the House, but these 8 Democrats in the Senate made this decision. And I think this is what disappoints people. This is why people are like, yeah, no, we're not happy. Millions of people are not happy with where the Democratic Party is. And so that is what I'm calling for. Please meet people where they are. Fight, 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 fight. Do not capitulate.
Is your book on audio?
Yes, it's on audio and it's my voice. So if folks want to, oh yeah. It's and it's very layered. The book talks about a lot of different things. I think in the news in report certain things get highlighted, but it talks about my experience as being a first and what it's like. And I think I speak to many women, Black women in particular, of what it's like to be a first and how you're treated and what you got to deal with. So it talks about that. Certainly talks about my thoughts of 2024, my thoughts of the moment that we're in. But there's a lot of history in it. There's a lot of data. I talk about the media. I talk about the Republican Party as well. And I have a chapter specifically for Black women that I wrote for Black women called Sisterhood. And so I hope people take an opportunity to get the book.
Well, definitely. I mean, this is something that is needed. And I just want to personally say, here at Cafe Mocha, you are one of our Salute Her honorees. We are so proud of you. And the question I think I have is while you were our White House press secretary, you went through a lot of criticism and you handled it with grace and class. Is there some advice that you can give? Because right now, a lot of Black women are going through so many different things, from firings to dealing with misogyny to racism. But I saw you hold your own. Is there some advice on what you did to keep your peace?
Oh my gosh, it's such a good question. First of all, thank you so much for honoring me in 2019. It was truly, it was a beautiful event, and I will be forever grateful for lifting me up. You lifted me up before any of this. Like, you guys saw something in me.
I know, it was like, it's big things coming with Karine.
Yeah, you guys did. I mean, before any of this. And so I'm very incredibly grateful. Look, we are in a moment right now, this anti-DEI, this anti-Blackness, and somebody said it really well the other day when they say anti-woke is really anti-Black. And that was something that I heard Governor Gavin Newsom say very recently. And it's very, very true. And the people, the community, the people who have suffered the most have been Black women. More than 300,000 Black women have lost their job in this year alone. And it reminds me of the Malcolm X quote, right? The most unprotected, the most disrespected human is Black women, right? And you really think about I'm not saying as eloquently as he said it, but it's something that comes to mind often because it's so true. Like it rings so true today. For me, what I did, and this is this is the way that I made it. I had to figure out what we're going to do, what were self-care things that I was going to do for myself to make it through the White House because it was so hard. And I would wake up in the morning, I would pray, I would meditate, and I would do some sort of workout, right, to get my body moving. And I did that every single day. And I got up at 4:30 in the morning to do that every single day. And that's how the praying, the meditating, and the working out, that's how I got through it. And I would say today, the one thing that I have doing today is friends of mine have created like a sisterhood. And like a little community, a little sisterhood, not many of us, just like 4 or 5, I think even 7 of us, so that we can lean on each other, all Black women, so that we can lift each other up, be there for each other, and listen to each other when we need it. And I think we need to do that more just across the board in our community, is create this safety net for us so that people who look like us and know how it feels to be us, that we can have this safe community. And I think that's really needed right now, and helping each other out, right? What is it, you ask each other, okay, what can I do for you? You've had a tough week. What can I do for you? You've had a tough week. And I have a friend who started that recently, and I think it's one of the most brilliant things. And if that can catch on and we do that, we're there for each other, I think it could be pretty powerful.
But I have a friend that calls me every Sunday and all she does is bitch and complain. Anyway, Karine.
Talking about me. She's talking about me. And if I miss a Sunday, then, I hear it. Yeah. So.
Well, I have to tell you, this community here, this conversation feels really good. And I feel these are the conversations that are really important to me because I do feel supported and loved. And so this right here is truly what we need as a community. So thank you.
Thank you. And Karine, it's so nice to talk to you and not the White House press secretary who has to say these things. It's so beautiful to talk to you. Anyway, the book is called Independent, A Look Inside a Broken White House Outside Party Lines. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you, Cafe Mocha. Thank you. I love you guys. I appreciate all of you. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Karine Jean-Pierre, the first Black White House press secretary and advisor for Biden and Kamala. She's got a book all about what the Democrats and Republicans are doing wrong. It's called Independent. Coming up over the holidays, we're spending Christmas with gospel superstar Tamala Mann. Judge Faith Jenkins gives us all the details about the people telling lies on the internet. And comedian Roy Wood Jr. has a whole lot of fathers, and he says he's learned from all of them.
Here's your dose of espresso. Strong, hot news now.
This is The Espresso. I'm Angelique. A number of Somalians in the Midwest voted for Trump, hoping he'd change the economy. But here's what Trump really thinks about Somalians.
We're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country. I don't want them in our country. Their country's no good for a reason. Their country stinks.
I repeat, ICE isn't just going after Latinos. Speaking of, have you ever wondered why ICE is scooping up so many people at the Home Depot?
What we've seen is they've actually been colluding with ICE to provide information to surveillance.
That's right. Home Depot is calling ICE and turning them in. And I can't wait to see the new Kill Bill. Vivica's character is back and kicking butt.
I counted my bruises, and I had over 30 bruises, but I was very proud of each and every one of them because I felt like I earned them because our fight scene was epic.
Kill Bill in theaters this weekend. That's The Espresso.
UNITY, UNITY, that's a unity.
It's Cafe Mocha.
It's Cafe Mocha with Lonnie Love. Yo, I'm the producer, Angelique. Our first lady, our only lady, Michelle Obama, has been touring and doing her thing, promoting her stuff. And Lonnie, I know you have some thoughts on this.
She made a comment about black hair. And whenever somebody makes a comment about black hair, is going to be some discussion around it. And basically, to paraphrase it, she was saying that, hey, Black women at one time had to adhere to, a white beauty standards by straightening their hair. And she said, because you got to remember, Michelle's been in the game for a long time. She's working at the law firm. And she was like, even though when I was in the White House, I was wearing braids, when I was working in the law firm, I had to have that hair straightened.
Right.
And so that started this discussion on Threads. I don't know if you all know what Threads is. It's a version of like X or Twitter, but
it was supposed to be the replacement Twitter that people were going to after Elon Musk did whatever he did and made it anyway. Okay.
And messed up everything. So it's like, so Michelle started this whole conversation about hair, and evidently there's this girl that wrote something that really got a lot of people triggered. She said, "Dear Michelle Obama, newsflash, Black women do not straighten their hair because of white people's beauty standards. As a curly natural myself, most Black women straighten their hair because they chose to, and it's easier to manage for them. Let's drop this narrative that we do anything for white beauty standards. Black women are the true beauty standard. Why get on stage and say that nonsense?" Okay.
Now, how old is this chick? Because if she's a certain age, then in her mind, she picked up wherever she picked up at. And, we straighten our hair, we don't straighten our hair. But for Michelle Obama's age, for our age, we had to straighten our hair, period. You didn't back 15, 20, 30 years ago. You didn't see newscasters, Black female newscasters with anything but straight hair. It wasn't kinky. It wasn't braided. It wasn't updo. It was straight. Go ahead. How old was this girl?
She's young. And this is the thing, is that even people started tagging singer India Ari. Y'all know India from, her
I am not my hair.
I'm not my hair. And basically India responded, says, "Thank y'all for tagging me. I want to thank everybody in these comments who is trying to educate this woman. I did my 25-year bid of trying to help people awaken. Maybe the path we laid made it too easy to walk down, but I'm going to thank you all for doing this work. As far as I'm concerned, she can be rude and miseducated in peace. I will too remain in peace. She will learn when she learns. Guess it won't be today."
Want a little more of our flavor? Stay right there. It's Cafe Mocha.
It's Cafe Mocha with Lonnie Love. Yo, I'm the producer, Angelique. Let's get back to it. Lonnie, go ahead.
Basically, this is a younger generation girl who doesn't understand. And this is what I always tell you, Angelique, when you don't study history, when you don't say about discrimination, you talk about racism, people don't understand. Some of y'all, of a certain age, you always know that we've had a Black president.
Right.
But we remember when we were struggling to get a Black president. We remember.
Oh, no. We weren't struggling. The idea of us ever having a Black president in our lifetime or our children's lifetime was an impossibility. Period.
And so the thing is that because you don't understand the history, you don't know the history of Black hair and what's been going on. When I was working at General Motors, I couldn't walk up in there with no afro. You wouldn't even get a job if you especially even in, like, this is roughly 15 years ago. You couldn't get a job if you had locks and braids. It's no. Like, we put in work. The Crown Act, that took decades.
And it exists for a reason. It exists for a reason. It exists so that you can wear your hair curly, kinky the way you want to wear it. But they don't know that. They don't,
well, and most importantly, she is our former first lady. And to say, why would you get on national stage with that nonsense? It's like before Googling, before researching Black hair history, you would understand what she's talking about. So it's just like, it's still a fight. I mean, even today, you can't go to certain corporations and think that you're going to walk up in there with locks and twists.
Nope.
They're going to look at you crazy.
They ain't going to look at you crazy to your face. They're just going to rip up your application when you walk out. And you got to think about it like this. If they rip up your application just because of your name, okay, because it sounds too black, then you know daggone well that if you walk in there with some locks, you ain't got a chance.
You know, the thing is, a lot of this younger generation, I hate to sound like, you know, old granny here.
They stupid.
You don't appreciate what.
They stupid.
They don't understand. Tell me, I'm not my ancestor. Do you realize your ancestors survived slavery? Your ancestors survived Jim Crow. They survived, you know, the segregation and desegregation. They survived a lot more. And y'all sit up here, somebody call you a name, you start crying and crashing out on social media. How dare you talk about you ain't your ancestor?
I'm sorry. Black kids, like I could understand white kids saying I'm not my ancestor to try to, you know, kind of pull themselves away from that stuff. But why would black kids say I'm not my ancestor?
Because it's just like what this young lady was writing about against Michelle Obama. They think they know more. They don't understand that somebody crawled so you could walk, and you don't appreciate it. You really, really don't appreciate it. And so, no, I've seen several times when people have said, you know, we're going to fight. We're not our ancestors. We're not this. Y'all not even fighting MAGA.
Right. Yeah, I ain't fighting nothing. Y'all fighting on social media.
Y'all, please stop. Please stop acting like y'all big and bad and whatever. You know,
they don't even have the strength that we had. You know what I'm saying? And we didn't. Our generation, Gen X, we didn't have to go through nothing.
Okay,
we're protesting about apartheid over in another country. Anyway,
okay, I mean, actress Yvette Nicole Brown said what she said is true, talking about Michelle Obama. And I am one of the women, along with the trailblazers, who made natural hair palatable. Who made natural hair wearable in commercials back in the 90s and early 2000s. If you're in your 30s.
She was doing the Pine Sol commercial in braids, right? Was that?
No, that's not her. That's the other. You getting your black.
That?
You getting your black people mixed up.
I'm sorry. You know y'all all look alike.
You know what? It's like, you know, y'all in y'all 30s. I understand. It's no disrespect, but you got to study history of stuff. You know, it's right here. It's right. All you got to do is Google black hair history, black hair discrimination, and it's right there. And so that's what Michelle Obama was talking about. And, you know, we just got to be more respectful, especially even of our older people, including you, Angelique. I'm going to be
What you say, baby? You pretty good. Messing with me.
It's Cafe Mocha. Get out of here.
That's the show. Check out the full interview by subscribing to the Cafe Mocha podcast. Until next time, you can find us on the socials at Cafe Mocha Radio. Cafe Mocha is a production of Miles Ahead Broadcasting in partnership with Super Radio. Executive producer Sheila Eldridge. For comments, booking, or more information, visit cafemocharadio.com.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here. Wishing you a very happy half-off holiday, because right now Mint Mobile is offering you the gift of 50% off unlimited. To be clear, that's half price, not half the service. And Mint is still premium unlimited wireless for a great price. So that means a half day, yeah?
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.